allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, I'm sorting through some things here, folks. Thank you for coming. Just wanted to let you know that we did have an executive session to discuss some personnel matters this evening. And on that note, we'll go down to our public comment. The chair wishes to recognize a resident or taxpayer of the Sayre Area School District wishing to address the board about title programming or any other matter of concern or interest properly raised in a public session. Please give your name, address, and the subject of the content you will be addressing. It's requested that comments be kept to 3 minutes. Moreover, please note that comments relative to private student or employee matters should be directed to the superintendent outside this meeting. On that note, do we have anyone that would like to approach the board at this time? Being there is none, we'll go on to letter D, our special presentation from Mrs. Jennifer Amy and Sophia Hyatt, as they will be attending Young People's Continental Congress this summer in Philadelphia.
Well, good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, I guess. I've been here since
Welcome.
7, so it kind of all goes together. I'm Jen Amy.
They keep hearing.
Yeah, okay.
Is it too, we're too quiet?
Well, here, ladies, we'll grab you a mic here.
Ah, okay.
Thank you. 2 minutes.
All right, good to try this again. Good evening, so I know what I'm doing. So I'm Jen Amy, and this is Sophia Hyatt. I'm the ESL gifted teacher here, and Sophia is one of my students. So we applied to the Young People's Continental Congress, which is held in Philadelphia this summer. And we were one of 54 people and 27 student teacher teams, all from the United States, and then one from Guam, which is a little odd, since Guam is quite a ways away. But we just wanted to present a little bit to you so you knew what we were going to be doing and how we're going to represent Sayre. So this is just kind of the presentation that they shared with us when we went for our first meeting. So here's who can go. Obviously, it's a middle or high school teacher. Let me show yours. No, you know what's on? Oh, you can't see it?
She forgot her glasses this evening, so bear with her.
Maybe she looks at the screen, the VenQ.
Yeah, it might be a
It's a
little
larger
easier.
print, so yeah, come around the
Still
front of
can't
the-
see? All right, I'll just go ahead and So, it has to be someone who's currently a sophomore or a junior, a strong interest in history and civics, and then someone who will actually follow through and do everything that's asked.
If you feel comfortable, you can sit down at the desk.
Is that better? Would you want to sit down?
Sure.
Here, I'm gonna sit. Do you want to add anything? Okay. All right, so we actually found out in December that we were accepted, but we couldn't say anything until February. President's Day. So because they made a nationwide press release, sorry, I get nervous, a nationwide press release naming all 54 people. That was sent to the school, and I believe it showed up in the morning times as well. So we do 5 modules. Those are run by months, so we started in January, we run through May. Each month we have a lot to read,
And then 3 assignments.
and not from the book, which Sophia would love. They gave us a book and we haven't read from it yet, but we'll get there. Then we have to do an academic task. I have to do a discussion, and then Sophia has to do a separate discussion. I discuss with all the teachers, and she discussed with all the other students. And then we do a 1-hour live program with an expert, and then we do a team task. Right? So these are just kind of giving you the ideas. The first one was kind of just telling us what the Continental Congress was. The first one, we did a lot of background. We researched one in depth. We did Samuel Adams. And then we just learned about common law versus criminal law?
We talked about common law versus like the trial court.
Trial court, so I had to remember that. So now we're working on like slavery in the early colonies for March.
After each unit, we do a webinar that kind of wraps everything up for everybody.
With an expert, like a professor or someone who is an expert in that field. Then in July, the 13th through the 19th, we will be going to Philadelphia, staying at a very nice hotel in downtown Philadelphia, and getting to learn even more about the Continental Congress, visiting some local places. So these are some of the places we'll be going. Carpenter's Hall, where the first Continental Congress was held. That's actually there, working with National History Day to put this on. And then we have, you went there, Independence Hall, and then we have the Liberty Bell. And then a couple other places were the Museum of the American Revolution and the National Constitution Center that we'll be going to, using their archives, using their exhibits, and learning as much as we can about the founding era and the founding fathers. And then what will you be doing, Sophia, after we're done?
And then when we're done, I have to participate in National History Day's 2025 program. They give you a topic and you pick one of 5 different things that you can do to like explore that topic. And then I have to make 2 community presentations on what I've learned.
So basically, she's gonna choose, they give us a theme. This year's is responsibility.
Rights and responsibilities.
Rights and responsibilities. So next year will be a different one. She chooses a topic that she's interested in within that theme. She researches, and then she creates a presentation. Some of the presentations, we had them on our notes, but I didn't want to display them up there. You could do a skit.
An exhibit.
An exhibit, like a museum
documentary.
exhibit. A paper, of course, a documentary, which would be pretty cool. But the one we kind of thought was pretty cool, and we were hoping maybe we could get some students in on it, are these museum exhibits. These are some examples of ones that students have done in other years. The one over here, that's the radium girls, the ones that would lick the tips of the paintbrushes that were covered in radium and make the fluorescent hands on. Oh my gosh. Watches, thank you. So I was always fascinated by that because it was pretty bad what eventually happened to them. So we thought that would be a good thing to do, is have like a museum here in Sayre where students could take part and they could create exhibits or skits or something like that to take part in the National History Day with Sophia. I think we were kind of talked about this. Like I said, we found out at the beginning of December, so we've known for a while. We had to keep it kind of quiet, but we're really excited. And we can't wait to go back to Philadelphia and learn even more. I mean, for me, I haven't been to Carpenter's Hall. You haven't either? Nope. I haven't been to the American Revolution Museum or the Constitution Center. So we get to go some places new, even though we were up there in the fall for the Spirit of America program. These are just the press releases. You may have seen them. The one is on the nationalhistoryday.org. So they just name all of the states. And there are only, well, there's a few states that have more than one, but Pennsylvania, we are the only representatives for all of Pennsylvania. There is a group coming from Philly, because Philly gets special consideration since it's their city, but we are the only ones from Pennsylvania, so we're pretty excited about that. And then if you got a chance, I didn't even know it was out there, I didn't know it was coming out until someone shared it with me. there's a really great article in the Morning Times. It's on their Facebook page, so it's not in the print version, but it does, and it changed, didn't it? It was set on the one that I wanted to show. But it just talked about how Sophia and I are representing SARE in Philadelphia. So it was a pretty nice article. I enjoyed it. Anything you want to add? All right, and let's get back to this. And I think that's it. Yep, just if you had any questions for us.
I don't know about you ladies, but I'm pretty excited to see you go down and make us SARE proud, Sophia and Mrs. Amy. I really appreciate the efforts that you ladies have put forth. And like I said, to be chosen to represent the whole state of Pennsylvania, like I said, well done, well done.
Thank you.
Before we started this, Sophia had never been to Philly before, so it's kind of interesting. She's gonna meet kids from all over the country. We'll share some interesting ideas with her, and I'll get to meet teachers and network with teachers from all over the country as well.
And if you have an extra hour or two and you're, while you're down there, if you're into art, go to the Philadelphia Art Museum.
I've been there once. I did a Monet exhibit, but it's pretty cool. Have you been there? You haven't, right? Because you haven't been there since I took you. But it was sad that a kid hasn't been to Philadelphia because so much history happened there, and it's not that far from us. So it's really cool to get, this program started, and maybe we can continue it, the Spirit of America programs and things like this in the coming years, so that our kids can represent SARE, but also open that world view and see what's going on around the world around them.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations, like I said. Make us proud.
We plan on it.
All right, presentation number 2. Mrs. Romberger, you'd like to bring up Augie and fill us in on what Augie and you are going to be up to here in the future.
I can do that. My mic got a little squirrely, sorry. So, this is Augie. She's on a trial. She's been sick.
Mrs. Romberger, I'd like to ask you to hold the microphone so the people online are able to hear you. We have it hooked up so that our mics go directly on there.
Sure can.
Thank you.
Got it. All right, so this is Augie. I was lucky enough to get a meeting with Dr. Delosio in November. For those of you that don't know, I've bred dogs, showed dogs, handled dogs since high school. So this is a breed that I've never had much experience with, but wanted to. It was the dog that was in-house when the Obamas were in office. So she is a 2.5-year-old registered Portuguese water dog. I had her for a couple of years just checking temperament and doing a bit of training as we went along. She's non-shedding. Her life expectancy is about 12 years. Their average weight will be between 35 and 50 pounds, but might exceed that if my kinder friends keep feeding her nonstop. So she's done really well. She's kind of shy, especially till she gets to know you, so I wasn't sure how that would work. It actually worked way better than I thought, because kids that have some anxiety with animals, it really works great that she's not in their face excited to see them. She's a little more reserved. So Mrs. Moreau can attest to the fact that last week I had a little guy that was definitely having some issues. He fell asleep with her on the floor and then woke up a much nicer fellow. But it's amazing. I've read for a couple of years what a therapy dog does in a classroom, but I didn't have any firsthand experience with that, and I wasn't sure. When I asked if I could bring her, I said, listen, this might not work out. There's 25-year-olds, and I'm not sure how dogs can fit in there. So it's working much better than I actually thought. We're finding our new normal. She's been to every grade K to 6 to be introduced. They all know her name. She went to a pep rally, did really well. We had a couple kids from the emotional support classroom that were having a very hard time and came over and sat with her, and that was like just what they needed. So we're finding a lot of success in the classrooms. So We had hoped originally she would be a facility dog. We found some glitches with that, with insurance, so currently she's just functioning as a therapy dog, but it's working very, very well. The kids love her. WENY contacted Mrs. Morrell and asked if they could come do a television interview with her on the 18th, I think, of March. So the kids are all excited. We have Augie Mail in our class. They write questions and letters to Augie. They hang them all over her crate. I did start across the country. I'm a part of a bunch of therapy groups, and they're sending postcards now that are starting to come in from all across the United States. And I have a big map to put up in the hallway so that we can see who the other therapy dogs are, because they come with little trading cards, and where they're from. So we're gonna start to map that out, and then next year I'm hoping to start a program kind of like Dear Abby, but Dear Augie, with a mailbox that they could put any questions or concerns or topics that they, have any problems or anxieties with, or etiquette stuff. So maybe that'll take off, but it's a fun adventure, and I appreciate the opportunity to let her come. It's working pretty good. Anybody have any questions?
Great, awesome.
Well, no questions, but thank you for all the time and dedication it took to get her everything that she needed to bring her to our students.
I did have a couple parents say, "Is she trained?" And I thought, probably more so than most of the children in the building.
You didn't say that out loud, though, right? You kept that inside.
Yeah. She has many, many certificates. She has 5 levels of an AKC, from a basic good canine citizen up through their advanced 5 levels, and urban dog, which that was a neat training. They took us through escalators, elevators. One of the trainings, they took a metal container that was filled with rocks and slammed it on the ground next to her, and she could react, or she could respond, but she couldn't react. If she reacted, she failed. So it was kind of neat to see what dogs would and what dogs wouldn't be aggressive to those things. And even this week, we're still learning things. A child backed up and stepped on her back leg and fell on top of her. I thought, there was no reaction at all. So, but you never know, they're a dog. So she does like snacks. She's helping the custodial staff. Anything on the floor, she goes home. So there's this bonus with that. But yes.
Share what the vet said.
Oh, our vet, I go to the Athens Animal Clinic, and they said she was born to do this. We can't wait to see how she does. So I had another dog there tonight, and they were all excited, asking how things were going and what I was finding. And another thing that I've looked into, the therapy company asked me if I would be a trainer, so for local people in our area, because of my background with dogs. And I am very much interested in that, because I kind of hope I could train the trainers at school and get a little bit more people trained, so that we can move forward with sharing her at other levels, because it's a great resource.
Now, Mrs. Romberger, she wasn't with us at the beginning of the school year, correct?
She was with me, just not with you, Mr. Cole. She didn't come to school yet. She had come in, I snuck her in the summer, occasionally when I was in my room.
Okay.
But we didn't start until fall. She came outside to football practice.
Mm-hmm.
And then at Christmas time, and I had permission to bring her in at off hours.
Okay.
From Thanksgiving to Christmas, and we rode the elevator, and we did the ramps, and we did those kind of things just to check, did the steps. So.
I was going to say, now, did we get a good shot of Augie down
No,
here?
could you parade Augie in
Yeah,
front of
could
all
you
the
go-
here?
Yeah, we gotta let people see who Augie really is here.
So this is Augie.
We have had a Facebook post, is that correct?
We did. We
Okay.
just had one, thanks to a parent that reached out with some concerns.
But now you see Augie live.
This
so
is
that's-
Augie live, yep. Oh, Redskin, Augie, yep.
Got her name
Yeah.
on there.
So, the after-school program, Mrs. Rancourt's crew is gonna start baking her snacks. So their program is gonna start to design a recipe and provide her snacks for school, so
Now,
all
do
the
they have
treats.
the tins or the pans or the
She
little
was
bones
gonna
or
order
paws?
them, I
I
believe.
have them.
Oh, sweet.
They might be packed, but I'm gonna find them. I'll take them over to Mrs. Rancourt.
Perfect, and we've had a couple parents call with some questions, and I will be happy to field any of those. I've invited someone to come in to meet her, to see her credentials, to see, there's a lot of discussion between what's a therapy dog and what's a service dog. A service dog is prescribed pretty much for diabetes, or, as Mrs. Agnew knows, or high blood pressure, or passing out, or anxiety attacks. A service or a therapy dog is for the general, not just one person. So there was some confusion on that, but the training is pretty much similar. It's just, they're not known for one act. They're just known to calm people. It's, and she usually is full of energy. Since we started working at school, she goes to bed at 5.
You've been working her pretty good here, Mrs. Romberg.
Is
She goes to bed
sleeping
at
well
5
at
o'clock.
night? Is she sleeping well at night?
I don't see her. She comes home at 5 and goes to bed. The kids are like, she doesn't even want to sled ride with us anymore, so. Leave it. Yeah. She's already
So
got a
just,
curly coat.
just another idea or thought to reach out to one of your colleagues, Mrs. Tracy, who runs the Tiny Mics. It might be nice for her to do a video. With your
Absolutely.
students, you and Augie to push something out on Facebook as well, because the students that run Tiny Mics are doing a great job too. So that may be another way to
Absolutely.
push that out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's a good thing for our students. We didn't have one at specifically at the elementary, and so, it's gone over really well. I don't think you've had any complaints. Some people had a question
Line
about,
for visits.
and that she is hypoallergenic, they don't shed, so we've had that as a question from
Have you
parents.
had to visit the principal's office with her?
She did, she's been, yeah, she was
Oh,
the principal.
not in trouble.
No, not in trouble. No, but
yes.
maybe assistant help the principal, you know?
The only thing, that men sometimes that are in black, she's a little hesitant, she just kind of looks, so we pre-feed them, give them treats so that they're approaching her constantly, and it's working well.
Now that there are two, we need to do a therapy dog of the year every year.
And do that after April 1st.
But thank you.
Come back and
Thank
visit
you.
again.
Thanks, Mrs. Romberger.
Thank you. All right, let's move into our consent agenda. Item number 2 on the consent agenda, or I should say number 2 on the consent agenda, would be to okay the minutes of February yeah, if I get that right, February the 18th, 2025. Go down to number 3, under instruction to approve the conference requests. Down to letter B of number 3, the field trip requests. Letter C, we have 1 district volunteer to okay. Down to number 4, under finance, we have the March bills that need to be paid. And letter B, the MOU for Penn York Opportunities ECHO program. The motion is to approve the MOU between the school district and the Penn York Opportunities for this program. Letter C, the addendum to extend the agreement of EXT with Northeast LLC to provide substitute staffing to the district as presented. Letter D, the letter of agreement for the Meadows. And I'm assuming number 5, the athletics and recreation, that's also a consent, even though it isn't marked on my sheet here, consent, but that's all right. The board report for the athletic personnel. Also in number 6 for personnel, motion to approve the district personnel requests as presented. Number 7, the first reading for the district policy number 336, volume 4, the personnel necessity leave, as well as the uncompensated leave. And that's everything on the consent agenda. Do we have a motion and a second?
So move.
And we have a motion and a second. Questions or comments?
Hey, Ron, I was thinking that the addendum to extend the agreement with the ESS, because it's, we don't have the full agreement in front of us. One of the things I think we'd like to make sure that we have the ability to, given performance, that we would have the ability to back out sooner than 2 years, which is what the agreement is for. So I guess I'd just like to table it to our next meeting, and maybe Joe can take a look at that to understand what we currently have in there. For example, if there's a 60-day out, if that's in there, that probably protects us, well. But if that's not there and we need some other language in the agreement, that might be helpful. So I'd just like that. I don't think, are we pressed still to get that, to to get this signed
The
today?
current contract does not expire until June 30th
Okay,
of this
okay.
year, so we have several meetings between now and then, sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so we'll
I don't
table
know, that's fine,
that.
but
I mean, we can table it if there's
I mean,
no objection.
It's just my perspective, I don't want,
We have to pull that out, make that a separate motion on that.
Because if you're not choosing to vote on it, it would just need to be tabled this evening. You're gonna table
Okay.
so just pull it out of, so I'll, I guess, make a motion to pull it out of the consent agenda. Just need to-
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, we can just use it as a request. We'll pull out, which one was it here?
Letter
C,
C, and then
letter
we're
C.
gonna extend the contract.
Okay, thank you. So we'll just table that.
So he made a motion to
I don't
table
think
it?
that needs to, because it's just.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
say-
yeah, just a
Okay.
request
All right.
to table. Any other questions or comments?
Can you hear me?
No.
Go ahead.
It's so quiet, I feel like you're next door. Okay, so for employment, for the professional staff, transfer for Mrs. Romberger, I, is she here? There she is. She has been a district employee for many years. So while I would love to approve this, I have some concern. Maybe she misses the classroom and she wants to get back to it, right? Maybe the elementary school counselor isn't something that she necessarily loves a year in, so then what do we do at that point? Given that she has been a dedicated employee of SARE for 29 years.
I think we definitely can put her back into the position that she did,
Yeah, I
if
mean,
that's where she wants to be.
as a board and as a district, we have that, ability to give her that classroom back if that's something that she would like to return to. You know, we will have to fill a kindergarten position, but could easily do that with the
Substitute,
long-term
yeah.
sub option, which allows her that flexibility to go back into the classroom if she would like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that's a great approach.
Yeah.
You know, all around, one, appreciative that with this position that's
And
very
she's
important,
trying to- yeah.
very important, and one that, she's willing to step out and do, I think is great.
I agree.
I think that she needs that flexibility, I think, and,
Needs to understand that we're behind her.
yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
100%. Okay, thank you.
So I would think that, you know, within a reasonable amount of time throughout the school year of next year, if she was to reach out to the board and ask to go back to her kindergarten classroom, if it's not something that she's enjoying doing and knows that she loves that kindergarten 5-year-old,
Sure.
she should reach out to any member of the board
Mhm.
and feel that support, and
Absolutely.
we'll work through that process.
I just wanna make sure that she, as a professional, feels supported walking
Yeah.
into a role, right, such as this, so, okay, I
Right, and
appreciate
she's
it.
already dedicated a number of hours to
100% she
researching
has. Yes, she
the new
has.
position and what she might be, you know, walking into.
Sure.
And I find it more than brave for her to open up her door and walk through this unknown to support the students in that school.
100%.
So.
She'll be
I
great,
think-
no doubt.
I have no
Absolutely.
doubt,
Yes.
Mrs. Morel's going to be very impressed, I have no doubt.
Yeah, and I'm not
Not even worried.
necessarily,
Not even worried.
I'm not necessarily concerned about that, I just wanna make sure that she feels supported by
Oh, yeah.
her district to know that,
Oh,
you know,
absolutely,
she
we
can
can be behind her.
Okay.
I was
perfect.
going to say, they stole my comments there, Mrs. Romberger, because like I said, I mean, I don't see any problem that you're going to have going into this position, because like I said, you've been a professional since day one, since I've known you, so, just to let you know.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any-
Yeah.
Yeah, now we gotta vote.
Okay.
Sorry,
That's
Rob.
all.
Okay, then, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't hear anybody opposed, so we'll move forward here, folks. Oh, sometimes it takes some prodding, I know, Mr. Hickey, so. Okay, but we do have one roll call item, number 8, the motion to
Hey,
approve.
Ron. Just real quick, now that those folks have been approved, we have Colby Sangre here. I can see it, sorry, I didn't turn so
There's Colby, okay.
Colby's our new volleyball coach.
Hey, welcome.
He's also a math teacher here at the district, so it's nice to have another coach who's, in the district, able to work with those kids, both being in and out of the school hours, so. Welcome aboard, Mr. Sangre.
Colby, I'm sorry I missed you, so, like I said, but we're glad to have you aboard. Okay, thank you. Okay. Next. Any?
Nothing else, Ron.
Okay, let's move on to that roll call item now. Number 8, motion to approve Dr. Tricia Tejan as the interim superintendent as presented.
Motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Questions or comments? Okay, Mrs. Lucheko.
We'll begin with Mrs. Agnew,
Yes.
Mrs. Blythe,
Yes.
Mr. Hadlock,
Yes.
Mr. Hickey,
Yes.
Mrs. Kmet,
Yes.
Mr. Constrini,
Yes.
Mr. Roof,
Yes.
Mr. Skirpon,
Yes.
Mr. Cole.
Yes. Okay.
Congratulations, Dr. T.
Yes, congratulations, Dr. Tejan.
Thank you.
I'll do my best to bridge the gap. Very small.
Was that a forced position?
She willingly accepted.
Like I said, thank you so much again, Dr. Tejan.
So I will say, I know that the vote has happened, but I will say, let's all remember, she's got double duty.
Yeah, we will.
For the short period of time, right? So, try to keep that gap short. She's running 2 major things now, so she's wearing 2 huge hats, and we appreciate you. Thank you.
Yes.
So that means I'm not on the personnel, no, I'm
We'll put our orders in order with you.
Don't give
Okay.
Ron your phone number.
Okay, let's get on the reports. Number 9, Mrs. Ely, good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. So I just would like to make an announcement to any parents that are out there or that are listening. Please make sure that you're reading through. I'm sending out a bunch of informational letters, sharing information about PSSA and Keystone testing. Today, for example, I sent some frequently asked questions that the state provided us. Very soon I'll be sharing out the dates for all the testing and the electronics policy as well. Our Artist of the Month for March has been selected and is 9th grader Madeline Mezzatesta, so congrats to her. And the only other thing I wanted to talk about tonight was SARE FBLA is teaming up with the Red Cross to host a community blood drive here at the high school gym on March 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. So those wanting to donate should look at our Facebook page. It was posted today. There's a link that you can sign up to donate, or you can scan the QR code on that same Facebook post. In addition to the blood drive, there will be a donation station where you can drop off items to be put in care packages that will be sent out to areas in need. They're looking for like toiletries and cleaning supplies. So please get involved in any way you can. That's March 22nd. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Mrs. Healy. Mr. Howie, good evening.
Good evening. Not a lot to report. We have finished out, well, no, we haven't finished out our winter season. We have most of our winter season complete. I think our swimmers found out that we didn't quite catch the wild card times. So most of them are done for the season. Jordan wound up at the regionals, which is the first time we've had someone there since 2016. Our basketball team is in the state tournament, which if I'm not mistaken is the first time since 2011. If I may be wrong, but I thought that's what I found out last. And that game is Saturday at Old Forge High School at 4 o'clock. If you're not familiar with that, you're gonna get down into the Scranton, northwest corner of Scranton area to find Old Forge High School. If you're listening, parents, our 7th and 8th grade lunch has gone to a cell phone free zone and has not been overly welcomed yet, but we're working at it, and they seem to be getting better at that. Other than that, everything seems to be going very, very well. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Howie. Mrs. Morel, good evening.
Good evening. Thank you to our PBIS team for our most recent assembly that we had. We had the sports teams come over from high school. They welcomed the kids in the morning and they were all introduced. So we are very proud of them and all the great things that they've done this season. In your calendar, Mr. Cole, there's lots going on at Snyder this week. It's Read Across America Week, so we have our Spirit Week. Monday today was Wear Green Head to Toe. Tomorrow is Twin Day with a Friend, Thing 1 and Thing 2. Wednesday is Sport Your Craziest Pair of Socks. Thursday is your favorite school, college, or team shirt. I probably won't be wearing Penn State that day. It'll probably be a little maize and blue, if you care to stop by that day.
Should have put that in the contract.
Next go around, we will.
Her parking spot will be labeled.
I knew, I was ready. If you put the banner out there, be prepared to take it back. And Friday is Represent Your Grade Level with a Splash of Color. So we're all participating in those activities. We have an important visitor coming to the school on March 6th. Our own Mrs. Lisa Cole will be returning. She's gonna share her author experience, the writing process, and reading her recently published book. She's gonna go K to 6 and she's gonna do a question and answer session with each of those grade levels. So we're very excited to see her back in school. Congratulations to all of those of you that are moving about. We certainly will do our best to support you in all of your endeavors. That's all that I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Morel.
You're welcome.
All right, Mr. Handrick.
Good evening, everybody. Just a quick dual enrollment update. Phil Campbell from Lackawanna was here a few weeks ago. He'll be back on the 26th of February for our partnership with 5 classes through Lackawanna. Our students also have the opportunity to take 18 online college classes at the same reduced rate at $300. They start later this month and those will be listed on our website very soon, probably this week. And we do have one upper level biology that we left with Keystone College, and I just saw yesterday on the news that their accreditation has been extended through September. So confident that the kids in that class will get their credit. So literally just kind of fluke that I caught it on the news yesterday. I don't have any details as far as whether that fight is put to bed or if it's gonna be reviewed every 6 months. So I'm sure more details will be coming out in the near future. So just a little dual enrollment update. And they haven't met yet, if anybody asked. That's why Ollie was pretty curious there what Augie was doing. He wasn't sure why there was people milling around and nobody was paying attention to him, but he's also pretty low key.
Ollie's always subdued. Thank you, Mr. Handrick. Down to committee reports. Do we have anyone that wishes to give a committee report this evening? Mrs. Blythe.
It's like you all know this is coming. Mr. Claypool obviously touched on this a bit, and so did Mr. Howie. Our new volleyball coach, thank you so much for stepping up into that. I love to see coaches inside of the district step up to do something extra, so that's great. Obviously, it's really hard to keep up this winter with all of the great things that are happening between wrestling, swimming, basketball, rec, cheerleading. Cheer went to comp yesterday and placed first on all 3 squads. So Colleen Rich, she has a handle on that. So very proud of all of them, proud of basketball, of course. So if you can make it out Saturday to see those boys in Old Forge, I'm sure they would love the support. They seem to like a loud gym. Seems to drive them a little bit. So I think that's it. It was short and sweet.
Who are they playing?
They play Old Forge.
They are playing
Yes.
Old Forge. I didn't know if it was new camp, so.
And also there is a spectator bus going down,
There
correct?
is, yes, there is.
Okay.
$10? $10.
I can get
$10,
ticket
okay.
in, which is like $8, so.
I know, they raised the price.
Oh, it's the PIAA.
You get to
Yeah.
states and they raise the price on it.
All right, anyone else wishing to give a committee report at this time? Okay, then you're gonna hear from me. First of all,
It's not me, it's you, Mr. Cole.
first of all, you know, again, one of the things I failed to mention here, and I want to continue to do this, but I thank all my board members for all the hard work that you folks do, and appreciate your efforts, and like I said, we have a great board here, let me tell you. I really appreciate everyone and everything that we do here. Sophia Hyatt and Mrs. Amy, thank you for your presentations. We're proud of you, and as you head on to the Young People's Continental Congress. I also want to give a shout out to the Snyder Polar Pop. They raised $1,300 to benefit. Now, I didn't get who they were benefiting. It was the Bradford Sullivan something.
Josh Swank does her Bradford County, oh my gosh, I'm drawing. Special Olympics. Yes,
Special
thank you.
Olympics. Thank you, Mrs. Morrell, and someone over there. But anyway, $1,300 to benefit the Bradford Sullivan County Special Olympics, and Officer Spencer even took a part in that. Yes, and like I said, some brave folks up there for doing that. I will also want to stress that demonstration night at the Northern Tier Career Center is this Thursday night, 6 till 7:30 p.m. If there's anyone that is one of their students are going to be starting down there, it's a great opportunity to see just what these kids do. I encourage everyone to come down and see how these talented young folks perform down there. They're amazing. March 28th, 29th, and 30th, mark it on your calendars. Guys and Dolls is back down here on the stage at the high school auditorium. Many talented students. Even though they performed it many times, it's always good to see the next group of students come in and perform that. They do an amazing job. A shout out to everyone who put together the 25th Open Forest up at the Environmental Center. The chili was terrific. And I also want everyone to check out the Facebook page and the website, because you're going to find a lot of amazing things out there that our kids and our instructors and everyone in our school district and what they're doing. Thank you. Dr. DeLucio.
All right. So I want to congratulate Coach Blythe and the team as well, headed off to States, and I hope they bring back that win on Saturday. So a couple other things. Kindergarten registration is this Friday. If you have not signed up or for an appointment and you need one, please call Tammy Shedden at the administrative offices. I wanted to congratulate Mrs. Schwank and the team for the Polar Pop Challenge and raising that amount of money. And if you haven't connected with Officer Spencer, he's a wonderful addition to our team. I know that he replaced a great guy who is retired, officially retired now. But Officer Spencer's doing a great job meeting and greeting, making himself, he's connecting to others, he's in and out of classrooms, arrival, dismissal, and so he's been a great addition, and I welcome all that he's doing in the lunchrooms and just everywhere. He also is sending emails out for safety checks. It's kind of like a little blurb, you won't read a book, but you might read a little blurb in this new world of social media, and just a snippet is all that we need. And if he sees something that he thinks needs to be brought to our attention, he does that, and he sends it our way with a potential solution along with it. That's always welcomed, not just to point out a problem, but a potential solution along with something that might be happening. And so I'm gonna just piggyback off of what Mrs. Blythe said. There's been a lot of activity and greatness happening on our athletic fields. When I think about that, I just wrote down a couple of things. FBLA, doing your job and moving on in competition. Student Council, continuing to serve our community. Read Across America, put on by our Title I teachers. Filling the seats at our NTCC. When I first got here, we had a lot of empty seats at the CTC that other school districts were using. We now here in Sayre are filling the seats that we pay for. The dual enrollment has increased, where before we were only connected to Corning, we now are connected to Lackawanna and Keystone, and 18 classes by the time you graduate you can have dual enrollment credits for. And then the Scholarship Challenge students. There's a lot of great things happening, and I'm so excited for the next step and the next phase for Sayre. So congrats to everybody that's involved in making that happen. It takes the village, and there's a village right here making it happen. So good job. Thanks, Mr. Cole.
And that Scholarship Challenge Finals is
15th?
15th of March, 10 o'clock in the morning down at the Sayre Theater. And Junior High Challenge is this Saturday, 10 o'clock in the morning. Okay. Very good. I I should have asked you, Mrs. Pacheco. Other than that, future meetings coming up, the Community Relations and Wellness Committee. They'll be meeting tomorrow evening, 6:30 in the administrative offices. The Finance Committee meeting, March the 10th at 5:30, also down in the administrative conference room. And our next board meeting will be St. Patty's Day, I should say. March 17th, here in the Junior Senior High School Library at 7 p.m. If there's anybody that has anything else that they'd like to bring before the
Just a
board.
quick thing, you mentioned open forum, so thank you for that. You didn't mention that you were one of the chili judges.
That was
Very well.
very good chili,
Yes,
very good
and so
chili.
thank you for
Thank
coming
you.
up and being a part
I
of it.
appreciate it.
Appreciate it,
I
and
love
thank you
chili.
to Trish and Dayton, they came up to check things out, so thank
It
you
was
very much.
chilly.
We miss Mrs. Burrell, who did not make it this year.
No, sorry.
Did you
I
get
had
the-
another
But it was-
minor engagement.
It was
Maybe
very
one
well
out of the
attended.
last, what, 25 or so?
I thought you used my calendar,
I
that's what I
probably
thought.
did, that's what happened.
There was a lot of neat things that happened, and Pete helped bring some scouts up that helped us out, so it was really nice, so thank you very much.
It was a blast.
That's all.
It was cold, it was a blast.
It was cool.
Other than that, then, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.